Round one. We couldn't ask for a better starting hand here. We've got turn one Mentor plus a Mox, and all of that while getting a turn to Gideon. Haven't even... Yeah, this is crazy. We're going to play 6 cards in the first 2 turns and not even use all our mana either turn. And they're starting out pretty quick too, but Chrome Mox, unlike the real Moxen, has to imprint a card to get any value here. So let's see what they imprint. Exile a card from their hand, Master of the Wild Hunt. So they could play Lotus Cobra or Raphelos or something. Or maybe just a Wall of Blossoms. Or 2 elves. Pentad Prism. Looks like Storm then. Well, no, it can't be Storm with Master of the Wild Hunt. But that's a lot of cards devoted to just ramping. We don't need to draw any lands here, so let's fetch. Take our hit here, which Mana Crypt might do as well. Cast the Crypt. 5 mana next turn means equipping and attacking with Sword, which gets a lot of damage in there. So that's one option. Do they go to counter that? I wonder. Oh gosh, here's hoping they don't have Daze. But I really want to play the Mox Pearl after the Mentor. All right. And that's it. Turn 1. No big deal. We both did a lot on turn 1, considering the maximum 1 land drop we get. Maybe we'll draw our Mox Ruby next turn. And that gives us access to 6 mana. That doesn't really help us. Close. It would let us get 2 prowess triggers. Problem with the Sword now is that they're going to empty their whole hand. So even though we can attack with Sword on turn 2, they'll only have 1 card in their hand. Oh, Tinker. Time to draw our removal. We have a few good options, but yeah, Blightsteel, that kind of sucks. What do they say? Tails never fails. Sweet. Yeah, can't even really attack through that. What a shame. Turn 2 Tinker. Our deck is fair by comparison to that kind of stuff. So even though we had an insane draw, could not save us here. So the Gideon has 1 turn of chump blocking. We can activate Gideon, or rather create a 2/2 Knight, and that'll block Blightsteel for a turn. We go to 9 Infect. And then the turn after, well, it just depends. But we either have to draw removal or kill them the turn after this, and we can't attack here. We could force in 2 damage, but killing our Mentor is too big. Wow, what a crazy deck. It's like a ramp deck with a little Tinker upside. Might be Teamer. Arid Mesa. Maybe the Arid Mesa just fixes for blue. And why on earth they're waiting here, I have no idea. They're wondering whether they should counter Gideon. That's all I can think of. If they have something like Mana Drain, then their deck is very good. Izzet Charm. I guess we can't pay for it. Alright. That means we have to either chump with 2 monks or a Monastery Mentor. And that is not cool. I guess it does more damage next turn to chump with the Mentor. There it is. There are those 9 infect counters. If you get 10, you lose. So the trick is skipping 10 and going right to 11. Oh, that probably still loses, though. All right, heads. We won again. What luck. Okay. We actually can't build up enough defense here to even survive. That's only 8. Unless if we actually played everything, it'd be still not enough to survive. So they got game 1. Disenchant doesn't do it. Declaration in Stone does. Banisher Priest does. Just bring in everything that can deal with that. Cast Out does. So take out Elspeth, a little too slow. Take out... We have a lot that deals with it in our main deck, but I guess just not quite enough. Yeah, Seeker, we can take that out. Keep all the 1-drops. Mana Tithe is fine. Disenchant. Disenchant is interesting because we can attack their mana base. They have a lot of artifacts, of course. Silverblade. Resto doesn't do much. We need one more cut here. Sword of War and Peace, kind of weak looking. Maybe it's not going to be Mana Tithe. That's tough. Soulfire. What's the lifelink going to do? It's just a 2/2 vanilla, so let's take that out. And we'll be on the play. Not nearly as exciting of a hand, but it does curve out, and it does have the answer to their Tinker. Nope. Down to 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, since that'll be more expensive after Thalia. Careful planning on these turns. Okay. Get the threats into play here. Next turn, Silverblade bonded to Woe Reaper to get in a clean 6. Unless we need to kill something. Revoker, what's that gonna name, I wonder? Gideon, ally of Zendikar. Good choice, based on what they saw. They could actually name some of our mana sources too, our artifact ones. Different cards like this work different ways, and this just has to name a non-land card. But yeah, let's still go with Silverblade here. It even moves them close to each other because they're soulmates. That's one thing I try to do, even in live Magic, is try to represent your board state easily. That's one thing I'm kind of not a fan of, is like gaining advantage legally, but like in a way that's to either confuse or like trick your opponent. You know, saving information about what cards in your hand, that's fine, but hiding like your creatures behind your lands, or putting your Arbor Dryad with the rest of your lands, and they're like, oh, by the way, I block with this. Oh, I thought you didn't have any creatures. I don't know, I'm not a fan of that. If anything, it just slows the game down, and it's hard enough to finish a match in, what is it, 50 minutes anyway. So yeah, I'll move my Soulbond creatures closer together instead of being like, oh wait, I said they were bonded when they came in. It's like, oh, well, it didn't look like they were. In any case, we have a lot of first strike here and even some second strike. I'm still a proponent of the idea that they should make triple strike and have like a slow strike phase, so that a creature with triple strike would have first strike, normal strike, and slow strike. That might mess things up a little too much. They'd have to make a whole new combat phase in damage, because essentially that's what first strike does. It creates a new phase in damage. Well, they're not playing Storm, but their Temur combo deck must have a lot of options. Our deck is just straightforward. Kill the big thing, play the little thing, attack every turn. So here it is, Chrome Mox. They have to decide, first of all, what to exile. Second of all, what they could possibly draw. What they can tinker for here. Tooth and Nail. Black Lotus. Did they just tap for Black Lotus? Of course they did, because of Thalia. Oh, don't just pass the turn. Now we don't know what to expect. Except just attacking here. It gives them more mana next turn, right? Since they had to, yeah, 3, 4, 5, 6. They'll have 6 mana to do something next turn, or 7 for a creature. So we get to attack in. And our sorceries aren't instants, but mainly our removal spells can't be cast on their turn. So we just play Soldier of the Pantheon. I didn't even check if this attack is lethal. It's 10. As I count it now. 8 from our soulmates and then 2 from Thalia. So if they want to block a bunch of damage, well, they could block 4 from one of these guys. And if they have removal in their hand, then they get to do it all. They get to kill one of these guys and then trade with the other and only take 2. It's kind of weird to see them pausing here. I imagine they're thinking and not just making a sandwich, but they must have known this attack was coming. So what was all that thinking last turn if it didn't already consider this attack? Right, so they are blocking the damage here, and we'll play Soldier and pass. I'll admit this deck's a lot easier to play than theirs is, but and I guess we'll never know what those 3 cards are unless they show us what all those decisions were. It's a lot to deal with next turn. They have to deal with 2 creatures. So 2 blockers would do it. A blocker and a kill spell. Well, even the blocker wouldn't do it against Declaration in Stone. Dack Fayden. We gain a life randomly from Soldier. Alright, better draw something good for that Lotus. We can vote Dack Fayden off the island with our Judgment here, but only if we draw land. This is probably just their concession. Yeah. So that gets really tough when you have like a very small chance of winning, but you don't know what it is, you have to figure it out. Then you go through all the trouble to figure out the very complicated but low probability chance of winning. And then you go through all the motions and whoops, we just drew the wrong card. So all that for nothing. That's Magic. Well, the deck is set up well, Well, the deck is set up well. Yeah, our deck is set up to fight what we saw still. And Disenchant is in there. Disenchant deals with, I guess, Mox, Chrome Mox, whatever they had there. And that's a bit of a 2-for-1. They're investing 2 cards to get that ramp and fixing from Chrome Mox. We take it all away just that easily. Mana Tithe. If anything, we take out Mana Tithe and put in Seeker of the Way. Just for that extra early creature. We haven't got them with Mana Tithe yet. That's one I'd tend to bring out if they've already seen it, so it kind of accumulates value if they ever play around it when they don't have to. But since they haven't seen it, I like leaving it in. Their deck is so combo-oriented that a Mana Tithe could really throw them off. Like, let's say they play that turn 2 Black Lotus, spend all their mana for something, and then Mana Tithe gets that 2-for-1. And if we miss with it, oh well. It's more life to gain off Sword of War and Peace. Just rotting in our hand after that. And to some extent, it's pretty good in the deck because we have Monastery Mentor, so no matter when we cast it, it's going to get some value. So that's another reason to have Seeker of the Way, just for that prowess trigger. Alright, they're back to it here. Alright, a Mox Pearl hand. So that means turn 1 Stoneforge, just to tutor up that last equipment, assuming we don't draw it. They're down to 6. We have a good shot here. 2 Mox versus 1 Black Lotus. Black Lotus Tinker hands are scary. Oh no. Don't do it. Channel? Can I get a Mana Tithe? That wouldn't have even done it. Black Lotus Channel. Well, this is the real deal. Karn. Okay. I see how it is. Let's get rid of Banisher Priest. I'm not sure we can beat a turn 1 Karn with our turn 1 Stoneforge Mystic. The mana difference is kind of huge. Too bad he's not multicolored. Soldier would get in there. Are they waiting for us to concede here? We're not going down without a fight. Not so easily. Shelldock, why not? Find Ugin too while you're at it. That was a good mulligan. I'll give him that. Use the ability, get the card just so we don't have to draw it. There are much better things we could draw right now. Even land. So exiling Stoneforge is kind of safe here. Even exiling one of our lands is pretty safe. I'll go ahead and say it. It doesn't matter what they do. It's pretty safe here. Anything they do really sucks for us. We're at the point where we exile like Gideon. If they plus Karn here. Although, that's not one we want to restart the game with them having in play. So, it's better to exile the sword, maybe? What did they get so far? Let's take a look. They got Banisher Priest. And they're hitting our lands. It's kind of smart. Kind of smart's more like it. Alright, Mox Ruby. We're doing it. Both our pieces of power versus all three of theirs. Black Lotus is the only real piece of power, but Channel and Karn also hard to deal with. You know what? I like getting the threat into play. The Jitte, so they're incentivized to just kill our Pearl next turn because they know we're mono white at this point. Oh no, if they have an answer to Stoneforge, it's over. Our precious 1 damage here, because if they do minus Karn, then there's a slight chance we kill Karn on the backswing. Yeah, like I say, we can get rid of the sword. Not going to be fast enough. Now, if this is all we have to deal with, maybe there's a chance. Never give up. Never give up. First we have to kill Karn. It looks like we might be better off attacking them, but I just don't think that's true. Once Karn restarts the game, that's like gaining 20 life. Now, they exile Mirran Crusader, and if we draw a land, then, well, I guess drawing a land's pretty good. Or draw a land, go Gideon, make an emblem, and hit Karn for enough to kill him after he minuses. And this is all just hoping there's nothing else they can cast with their 7 mana. What happens if they exile a card from our hand? Then we can go Jitte, and then Mirran Crusader attacks for 8. 9, 10, 11. That would be enough to kill Karn. I guess Gideon also kills Karn in that case. But that assumes we draw land, so it doesn't really matter what we exile there. Except Jitte, at least we can play it. So I'd exile Gideon. Jitte is like the equivalent of a planeswalker. It gets so much value every turn. So them starting with it in play, not great for us. Okay, so we do exile Gideon here. And the reason we get to do 8 with Mirran Crusader, what the heck? Oh, this was so good. Let's see, 3, 4, we get Jitte. Stop on our turn on damage. I think it lets you do that anyway. But we put that there. Attack with all these creatures at Karn. And then after the first hit, here, right there at 9, 6, 7, 8, 9, we pump it up. So we might have won. They have nothing left. Pump this guy up. Pump this guy up. And that's 9. Goodbye, Karn. We get another 2 counters. What is this, game 2? Mazavith. We knew that card was good against us. Oh no, we can't kill it. Yeah, we should save Cast Out though, instead of trying to draw. We cycle Cast Out, draw land. Not great. So let's equip to Stoneforge, because that's one they don't really care if it hits them. Attack with everything. And they untap Stoneforge, so we don't get another thing here. So they take 6. And we hold up Cast Out. We could keep moving it around, right? So we move it to one creature, pump it, move it to another, and pump it, and then move it back to something. But it looks like we just have the win next turn if we do something like that. Mana Crypt, great. So we pump up Stoneforge, play the Mana Crypt, equip this to Soldier. So we're going to make these 2 creatures lethal on their own. Kind of a cool little line. I'm glad I saw this eventually. Would have been last turn. Would have been good last turn too. But then we'll do the trick, just equip it to Mirran Crusader. Keep up Cast Out for whatever reason. They can't Shelldock. So Mirran Crusader is attacking for plenty. And that's 7. Cool, that was the match. All right, see you in round 2. We beat a turn 1 Karn, and they're probably kicking themselves for not dealing with more of our creatures with Karn. They got greedy last turn, getting a card from our hand, and we drew well. But we did beat a turn 1 Karn, and all it took was all of our power.